Sometimes you want a different sort of challenge from games. Instead of twitchy shooters or pixel-precise combat, you want to slow things down, light a conceptual pipe, and deduce. The following list is full of titles that will test your ability to solve crimes, think laterally, and unearth mysteries. Sometimes by using logic, other times by using the opposite. Gather all your suspects into the drawing room, wax your tiny mustache, and join us as we dramatically reveal the top 10 detective games on PC.
This is going to be a long night.
The best detective games elicit the same feeling as a 500-piece jigsaw puzzle on a wet Sunday afternoon. Hard but not too hard, and especially good when you've got nothing else important to do. And in the best possible way, Sherlock Holmes' Crimes and Punishments is exactly that sort of game. There are no time limits, you rarely have to react quickly. Instead, it's a case of gently collecting all the evidence and deciding what actually happened via the brilliant intuitive deduction system. And perhaps the best thing about Crimes and Punishments is the least Sherlock Holmesy thing of all. It's entirely possible to come to completely the wrong conclusions and send the incorrect person to the gallows. But in the same breath, if you think the guilty party had a reasonable moral reason for committing a crime, you can also use your powers to get them off the hook. Detailed and thoughtful, Crimes and Punishments is simply the best game about the world's most famous detective.
You are welcome, Inspector.
Once upon a crime, there was a detective called Wolf, Bigby Wolf. And we can honestly promise that only one of those puns is our fault. Telltale's adaptation of Bill Willingham's comic universe fables, The Wolf Among Us is up there with Tales from the Borderlands as one of the developer's best games to date. A feast for the eyeballs with its cel-shaded visuals, this noir detective drama is a veritable lineup of fairy tale heroes that thankfully never manages to feel hackneyed or cheap. Fabletown in modern-day New York is fascinating to explore as Snow White and co. effortlessly blend in with the modern world, and the murder mystery at the heart of the story is as dark as the woods you definitely shouldn't go into alone if you want to live happily ever after. Bigby is the ideal grizzled detective, and the episodic nature of Telltale's game fits perfectly with the magical whodunit. The even better news is that once you've solved this set of grisly crimes, Telltale has promised a second season arriving in 2018. A perfect excuse to stay inside your house of bricks.
Should have walked out of here when you had the chance.
If even Crimes and Punishments was too wild for you, Agatha Christie The ABC Murders is even more sedate. You simply point, click, and help the delightfully plump Belgian detective solve a variety of interconnected crimes. It's simple, genteel stuff, which is especially appealing to anyone with an interest in the books or the TV show. You can even win extra ego points for acting like Poirot, which means you can never walk past a mirror without twirling your moustache. Mechanically, it bears some resemblance to our entry based on the other great consulting detective. As in Crimes and Punishments, you test the little grey cells by linking clues to reveal facts, and observe suspects to build character profiles. Although Poirot's deductions aren't always as impressive as Sherlock's.
This woman appears to be a smoker.
What made you think she was a smoker, Poirot? Was it the fact that she's literally holding a cigarette? If you can ignore the occasional bit of terrible "Call Blimey Governor" voice acting, the mix of smug detective work and tactile puzzles makes for a pleasant Art Deco distraction.
Let us see, Mr. Clever Poirot, just how clever you can be.
What's better than playing as a detective, you ask? Playing as one who investigates supernatural cases, of course, and has mysterious powers of his own. In a surprise to no one who's read the title, Ethan Carter has disappeared, but this game is far more than just a common or garden missing persons case. As the grizzled Paul Prospero, you must explore the beautiful open world of Red Creek Valley to uncover the mysterious truth not just behind the missing boy, but also a spate of local murders. There are puzzles to solve here, but atmosphere is the order of the day as you wander the beautiful natural open world. Sure, you can probably complete Ethan Carter in one admittedly long sitting, but this is a world best savoured as you saunter around and take in the views and listen to that incredible score. Even the best supernatural detective needs to take a moment to have some coffee and eat his sandwiches.
No place is truly quiet, and nowhere is really ordinary.
If you thought games were better when they arrived on a dusty floppy disk, you are not alone. Ron Gilbert and Gary Winnick, the devs behind Maniac Mansion and The Secret of Monkey Island, were so sure of it that they kickstarted a spiritual successor to their point and clicks of old. The gaming community responded with a resounding yes, and Thimbleweed Park was born. As gloriously pixelated and fiendishly filled with puzzles as its decade-old predecessors, Thimbleweed Park follows two FBI agents who have arrived in a dead-end town to unravel a murder mystery. Just like Maniac Mansion, yes, just nod and pretend you're old enough to remember, you can flip between various characters as you quest to uncover the killer. On top of the two agents, one a rookie and one a jaded old-timer, you can play as Franklin, the ghost of a pillow salesman, Dolores, the game designer, and last but not least, Ransom, the foul-mouthed cursed clown. Yes, you're going to get stuck, but at least the internet exists now, and you don't have to hunt down cheat codes like you're in your very own murder mystery.
Body starting to pixelate.
Farenheit, or Indigo Prophecy as it's known in North America, has the sort of hooky opening that it's impossible to step away from. As Lucas Kane, you start the game in a trance, having stabbed a stranger to death in the bathroom of a New York diner. From there, you piece together the mystery, swapping between Lucas and NYPD officers Carla Valenti and Tyler Miles. The gradual revelation of the game's dizzying plot is fantastic, and the first half is especially good, before it goes all QTEs and Mayan oracles and wire-fu fights with arthropods. But despite the bizarre places the plot takes us, Farenheit might be David Cage's best game, full of engaging characters, superb cinematic pacing, and open endings that mean it's entirely possible to come to the wrong conclusion. Just nobody mention the probably necrophilia bit, okay?
Your lips are like ice.
No, I said don't mention it. Jesus. Sometimes you don't want shocking murders, labyrinthine plots, and immaculately rendered 3D environments. Sometimes you just want smart jokes and Edgar Allan Poe bickering with H.P. Lovecraft in a haunted library. And that's exactly what you get with the Darkside Detective, a bright, witty point-and-click detective game set in the haunted US town of Twin Lakes. The puzzles here won't test your grey matter like other games on this list, but it still feels like a great detective game. Like a classic episode of The X-Files, the joy comes from discovering the bizarre explanation for whichever Fortean mystery you're currently investigating. Throw in a brilliant, pulsating score and wonderfully written characters, and this is the perfect distraction for anyone who likes their detective games, arcane and able. The Zero Escape games are one of the greatest secrets on PC, a series of smart, compelling visual novels more famous for their first run on Nintendo handhelds. But if you're in the mood for mystery and deduction, it's worth seeking out Zero Escape The Nonary Rooms, which brings together 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, and its sequel, Virtue's Last Reward. If the visual novel bit had you reaching for the skip button, let us try and sell this to you. The story is superb, and the way the central mysteries gradually unfold will keep you engaged. But it's the tactile puzzles you'll especially love if you're into detective games. Thoughtful takes on the classic escape room that feel like a perfect fit on PC. The smartly written plot is clever without ever being too clever, and the characters are rich and relatable, which can be a problem since the central mechanic sees them dying over and over as you replay the game to change their fates. It's challenging, unusual, and utterly essential.
Who is this kid?
Loads of detective games have you solving mysteries in a scattershot way. You click on everything, uncover the clues, and hopefully come to a firm conclusion. But her story is different. It forces you to sift through evidence and make your own deductions with no hard guidance about what you've missed or whether you're actually right. In this aspect, Her Story is perhaps the only game on this list that resembles real detective work, and we say that, quite obviously, without any basis for comparison whatsoever. We won't go into specifics because the story is too good to ruin here, but there's a unique satisfaction in piecing it all together, finding hidden evidence, and coming to a conclusion that it's entirely possible to miss. Does this mean we're actually real detectives now? No?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Where better to cut your sleuthing teeth than the City of Angels via Grand Theft Auto? Rockstar Games and Team Bondi's LA Noire is the smoky, trilby-clad icing on our detective cape with its creepily perfect mocap faces and series of grim crimes to investigate. Cole Phelps starts out on the LA streets as an officer, but quickly climbs the noir ranks to detective status. This is fiction as hard-boiled as the eggs in your favourite sandwich. Every crime here is inspired in some way by very real grim deeds that took place in 1940s Los Angeles, including the red lipstick murder, which was heavily influenced by a real tragic case. With an impressive city to hurdle across and such realistic crimes, whether you're dealing with traffic cases, drugs or murder, your grim detective work always feels like it truly means something. Let's just ignore the fact that your real-life detective work is so poor that you can't even find your shoes in the morning.
You finally lost it, partner.
And there we have it, the 10 best detective games you can play on PC right now. Let us know in the comments below if our sleuthing skills failed us and we missed a key game. Drop us a like if you enjoyed following the clues and hit subscribe for more videos like this one from Logitech G.